Eighth graders, this is to help you with question 3 on CR29. It says, select the graph which best represents the scenario. The amount of cake batter you mix increases with the number of people who ate breakfast. It takes 7 cups of batter to serve 10 people. Also explain how the graphs B and D to compare to C. Okay, great. So 7 cups of batter to serve 10 people. What this question is really getting at is slope. So the first thing I'm going to do is find the slope. My change in Y over my change in X. First of all, these are all proportional graphs. They go through the origin. So I could just take my cups of batter. That's our Y, over our number of people. Divide that out, I'll find out how many cups per person. So this is 7 cups per 10 people. 7 cups per 10 people. 7 cups per 10 people. So I'm looking for where 7 cups and 10 people will meet. Okay, so it's C. It's graph C. However, I want you to know, if they didn't give you a drawing of graph C, if they just said Y equals 7/10 X, that's the equation for graph C. And they may have said to you, compare this graph with D and B, okay? So for graph B, do you see how it's not as steep? When it's not as steep, you can tell me that graph B, number of cups of batter over number of people. Like here, for graph B, you only need 5 cups of batter to serve 10 people. So Y equals 5/10 or 1/2 X. So for graph B, you can serve more people with less batter. So graph B is less steep. You need less batter than C to serve the same number of people. B is less steep than C. So we'll have a lower slope. Five-tenths is less than 7/10. I'm going to tell you graph D is a steeper line. So graph D, it takes more batter to serve the same number of people. So graph D would be, the slope would be 9/10. 9/10. Takes 9 cups of batter to serve 10 people. Those are some dense, heavy cupcake or pancakes. Whew. So D is more steep. I hope that's how you spell steep. I hope it doesn't need an A in there. I hope it's 2 E's. It has a higher slope. Higher number for slope. 9/10 is bigger than 7/10. That slope is 9/10. That's bigger than 7/10. So whatever scenario your question is asking you about, you have to take the slopes and you have to see which one, I'm assuming, which is most steep, which is least steep, which is in the middle. I don't know exactly what your question asked you, but I can tell you based on the sample problem, it's asking you about slope. So whatever 3 is happening, find the slope of each line they give you and compare them. So you can see which has the greater rate of change. Like if they ask greatest rate of change between D, C, and B, D would have the greatest rate of change. If you had E involved, E has the greatest slope, so that has the greatest rate of change. Here, A would have the smallest rate of change. You could serve more people with less batter. Again, I'm not sure what your problem involves, but I can tell you they're testing slope. Hope that helps.